Hey Chaffey Panthers, you're watching What's in the Wind by the Breeze. I'm your host, Loureyna Pablo, here to discuss what's going on at Chaffey and connect those experiences to ideas like community, identity, and more. As we wrap up Women's History Month, it's important to remember why we celebrate it. To honor the legacy and impact of women in this world, I'm joined by the president of WooSTEM. Could you please introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, my name is Taylar. It is such a great honor to be here. I'm 20 years old, and I'm a biology major.
And to start us off, which woman of history or woman of STEM inspires you?
I think people might know them just because of the movie, but Hidden Figures. But I think one of the main two, or the ones that I can't remember at the top of my head, is Katherine Johnson and Mary Jackson. They were both one of the first Black women to work in NASA to work towards injustice and just inequality in the workforce. Just seeing someone of the same color as you, or just the same age, or just someone in the same living environments as you, seeing that they were able to do what I thought I could never do because of who I am is really inspiring. And then I would just like shuffle or shift something in them and just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, like I got this.
Can you describe really briefly your journey as a STEM student? You know, how did you get into it, and then how did you become the president of WooSTEM?
What grabbed my attention, most of it, was just the endless possibilities that science could provide, because we don't know everything about it, and it's still very much being explored. I think that's what also just like triggers something in my brain. I'm just like, oh, I want this, I want to do this. Like, I'm just gonna stand here and just watch and just learn. Yeah, I became the president, I think last semester, but I ended up being, at first I was the vice president. Me and my friends, I think maybe our second year of college, and we wanted to just explore more of clubs and stuff, just to try to get our foot in more and just try to be more social. So when I joined WooSTEM, I was just like, well, this is an opportunity for me to push myself and my friends to push ourselves, and I think that's definitely how I became the president. When we decided to come back for my third year, I decided to help out my advisors out just to try to look for new officers, because most of the officers already graduated, and they were like, well, since you're helping us, why don't you become the president? I'm like, I mean, I guess.
Sure,
but, little me, but I think that's definitely, I think it was great for me to get pushed into that position just because it helped me push myself.
And how would you say WooSTEM builds a supportive community besides, academics? How does WooSTEM help uplift each other so that everyone gets a chance to get involved with making history?
Obviously, the main thing about our club is to give people opportunities for just to grow. One of our other main goals is to be able to create a community so where you're able to be like, I can just ask questions, or I can just ask an update about what you feel or how you're doing in this major.
Yeah, it's definitely good to have that community from WooSTEM. So segueing into like community and place,
Yes.
Women's place in the world of academia has greatly varied. Even if they made contributions throughout history, sometimes they go under-recognized. You often see the names of men in textbooks. You hardly see women. And even now, the playing field is still not equal, and women still find themselves underrepresented, the STEM field included. How would you say academia looks like for you? Like when you look at your peers, your faculty, and even your coursework, would you say that you are represented enough?
From what I've experienced, I've had the representation just because of my teachers, because I've had majority of women professors, and I think with them being my professors, it helped me see that like I too can be like that, because I've always had like a partial interest in becoming a professor. So seeing that they've gone to grad school, or they've gone to medical school, and they've been in the same environment or same circumstances as me, shows that like, okay, yeah, I can definitely do this. Like, there's nothing stopping me if they can do it, and they're offering me the resources and the opportunities to do so. That's not the case for everybody. And I think that even though they show women who've been able to dominate these fields, it's still very little, and it's only
those women sometimes.
Yeah, and it's not even if it's women, it's not the same type of women that you see for yourself. Like for me, you and me, like we might see like a white woman and be like, oh yeah, she did it, but like, do we see us doing it? Can we see ourselves doing
Diversity
it?
is important. Like, I feel like having as much as possible is better. You know, it's like we're not trying to take away each other's jobs. We're just trying to make sure everyone has a job.
Yeah,
you know?
just trying to be more equal with one another, trying to be able to give each other the ability to achieve anything that we can even possibly dream of.
Yeah, support is from amongst each other is definitely important too. You know, like having that community of WooSTEM behind your back to really be able to champion yourself and each other is good. And how would you say it could change? You know, how would you say what you see in your coursework, what you see in textbooks or like in modern media, how do you think that could change for the better?
When you try to think about like what can we do, there's so many things.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously when you ask me that question still, it blinks my mind. But when I think about it, I'm just like, I feel the responsibility to just put my foot in the door to make those things that I don't even can think about happen, like to make the impossible possible. It might not start now, but it will start eventually, and I think that's what matters.
And now let's take a quick break to talk about The Breeze. What's in the Wind is a part of The Breeze, Chaffey's student-run news outlet. We publish stories about Chaffey and for Chaffey, whether it be sports, campus activities, arts and entertainment, and more. Recently, we published a story on grad season by Dorothy Vasquez. If you are graduating soon, read on her tips and tricks on how to survive that. We also have our editor-in-chief, Miranda Morgan, and her story cross-published with collegejournalism.org on Chaffey's incarcerated journalists. Want to know more about the hidden costs of data centers? Max's story covers more about how that impacts us Chaffey students. You can find more stories and podcast episodes like this on thebreezepaper.com. And now back to our interview. People of color in STEM are still severely underrepresented in the STEM workforce, most especially Black and Hispanic workers, according to a Pew Research article in 2021. In 2019, the pay gap between Black and Hispanic women and white men was over $30,000 for median annual earnings. Now, I feel like the world of STEM has kind of failed communities of color. How would you say, in your experiences, the STEM community has failed your community?
The access of education and support. I think even when you do have access to education, I think it's also very important to have that support, because I think that me still having that access of education, yes, that's very good, so then I can be able to work towards what I can do or what people can do. But I think for some people, support is very essential. I am part of this minority group, regardless if I was a person of color or a woman. It was just me being part of this minority group. It made me feel like I had to do it on my own to make that difference for myself and for the people before me and after me. And I think that's the hard part about it. I think that's where I also have a difficult time answering the question, but like, yeah.
So diversity in STEM matters because science impacts everyone,
right,
from healthcare to computers. Having different voices helps make STEM more accessible. Women's History Month also does something similar by honoring women who were able to make a difference in a predominantly man-run world.
Mm-hmm.
History guides how we function in our present. It tells us how to live. What is something that everyone should take away from Women's History Month, especially with like the STEM field?
People should take away basically. I think when you see definitely the more access that you have to this rigorous field, you see the opportunities that were given to you because of the people before you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you see those opportunities and you still see a lack of representation with what you're doing right now, it starts to drive you to be like an educator or an advocate to make a bigger path for the future generations, so then it's a little bit easier for them to also do to get through, so then they're not struggling like you or women from the past. So I think that it's very important for us to take an account for Women's History Month, because we want to remember who have set the blaze and the people that are keeping the fire and people who are willing to keep building the fire later on. And I think that's really why I do like Women's History Month, because I mean, obviously things do get chaotic throughout the year and you sometimes forget about certain things. So when certain months like that, like history, like Black History Month or Hispanic Heritage Month, I think it definitely gives like a zinger, like, oh yeah, this is what we're celebrating for this month.
And it's important to recognize that women still face these barriers. They still face restricted access to the STEM field, to like the field of English even, you know, as an English major. So it's definitely important to champion that. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to this podcast episode?
I think just as much as you feel discouraged or as much as you feel like you might not have the support that you need, just try to take that moment to be like, I do. Knowing that the school that they go to has a chance of being able to support them and give them those resources.
Well, where can we find WooSTEM? Like when, where, why, how?
When, where, and how. So you can find us on Instagram. It's just simple Chaffey WooSTEM. We just do updates about we just give up updates about the past events, future events, and what's going on now. We also have a few posts that go into detail about what truly our club is about. We meet up in the resource room in the Zimmerman Hall every Wednesday from 12:30 to 2. And we usually, if we're not doing at events, we're usually doing tutoring. Usually we try to have someone from our club, like one of our officers, to stay in the Zimmerman Hall regardless if we do have an event, just so then we can still try to help people who do need tutoring. And obviously we have like the basic subjects like math and like calculus or whatever that you may have. But if it's something that you see that we don't have, we always take into account, or we always urge people to just contact us. It doesn't matter if you just ask one of the officers or even me to say like, oh, I need help with chemistry, but I didn't see a chemistry teacher, or I don't know, I need help with philosophy, I didn't see a philosophy teacher. I will try to get my advisors to try to help and look for an actual professor that's willing to come on Wednesday or however, what time you need, and we will try it so they can work one-on-one with you.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Course. I'm glad I was able to finally collab with you, because like you guys were the first club that I had encountered when I came to Chaffey, so it's great to finally touch base with you guys.
It's so eye-opening and just feel like a welcoming experience to be a part of this. I'd love to do it again if I have to. But
for context to our listeners, this is a second take for technical difficulty reasons, but it's okay. It's okay. We're here now, and if anyone is interested in spotlighting their club or featuring someone, please let me know or contact me so then we could discuss this.
Yes, be in my spot, and just do that shout out.
But yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Well, thank you to our listeners and our watchers, too, for watching What's in the Wind. I'm your host again, Loureyna Pablo, and I'll see you the next time the wind takes me right to you. Bye.